After a fairly extensive search of, I guess reasonably cheap eBay radio control cars, I decided on this for the princely sum of £19, which works out to be about 29 Australian dollars. You get a 1/18 scale four-wheel drive rally car, which comes with controller. Now this is not a proportional controller, it's either on or off, pistol grip, forwards, backwards, etc. Steering wheel. So there's no proportional control. And what you do get is a very, very nicely, supplely sprung, fully four-wheel drive radio control car. So you can see that there's no differentials in here, but it does actually have quite a bit of traction because it's four-wheel drive. The tyres are pretty spongy, and no shocks, just the springs, and it seems to work pretty well. It's 2.4 gigahertz. So take it for a drive. I've already charged this one up. So basically with this, the wheels are all driven. And you can see also there's a little steering trim there, but the amount of articulation is actually very good. So you can just pop it down on things, and usually the problem with these cars is they're very, very stiffly sprung, but with this one you can pretty much put it on anything. That's not too bad really. I mean, a fair bit of articulation. And the build quality is not too bad at all. Sort of a mixture of screwed and pressed together. So the way that it works is there's a little drive and a gearbox at one end, a little drive and a gearbox at the other end. And there's a link arm in the center and then trailing arms here. So it means that it's not very stable steering wise. It doesn't always go straight, but it doesn't really matter because you've got the steering control and you can adjust that with trim. Now, one thing I don't like about this is the adapter, the power adapter. So I've put a rubber band on it because you can see it's pretty dodgy. So it's just a standard Chinese 2-pin, and even though it was shipped from or bought on eBay UK for £19, because the Australian ones were about $40 and this ended up being $29, they still knew that I was an Australian customer and sent me an Australian 2-pin. Now the battery in here, you can see that, nickel cadmium, old school, only 700 milliamp hour, 4.8 volts. What that does mean though, is that you can, if this thing doesn't last, you can probably adapt that and get 4 AA's in there with tab connectors. They certainly fit in this way, and build up your own battery pack and put in, say, 2600 milliamp hour. They claim that you get about 30 minutes run time after about 5 or 6 hours of charging with this little charger. And I charged it the first time for about 8 hours, which is what the instructions said to do. And it said the second time you got to charge it for 8 hours, but the third time, just charge it for 5 hours. Now the LED on the back here doesn't go green. I don't know if it's a fault or if it's designed to be like that. But you do get instructions, which tell you all the usual stuff. That's in Chinese, it's not much use to me. But that's in English, and it's not bad.
So overall, I quite like this little car. I think it's going to be a good little present. It's very low cost. I really like the amount of articulation and the amount of grip. I guess it steers reasonably straight considering how it is connected and how it is articulated. I don't like the low battery life. I think for 6 hours charge to only have about 15 to 20 minutes runtime isn't good enough, but you can change that out with bigger AA lithium ion or NiCad batteries. Overall, if you can find one for around about 30 Australian dollars, I think go for it. It's a pretty good four-wheel drive remote control buggy.